Let's talk about the media portion of this, because my position for the last couple months basically was that this was really not an election of Trump versus Kamala. It was really an election on reality and how many people now had woken up to something roughly real that they were getting online versus the endless lies of the mainstream media. It is very obvious that the mainstream media is now even acknowledging. I mean, CNN is now talking about the podcasters and the online streamers and everything else. MSNBC is now for sale via Comcast. CNN, it's now being reported, is about to axe a bunch of their top talent. Is that really the win here? I mean, there's a Trump win and a policy win, of course, and we're seeing some good people coming in. But is the other piece of this that the thing that you left years ago to now start what you're doing, very much like what I'm doing and so many others, that now we have a chance to actually deal with the truth at least?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Not only obviously Trump's use of the podcast circuit in driving up his numbers, in particular with men and with young people, because this is where they are. The young people do not watch cable news at all. They're older people, senior citizens watch cable news, and we know this. Not only in that way, but think about like the presidential debate between first Trump and Biden, but then Trump and Harris, and the vice presidential debate for that matter, and the fact checking that went on X and on podcasts and the digital lane. I mean, it was absolutely stellar. And those very effective little memes of like one, the way that Dana Bash asked J.D. Vance his first question versus the way that Dana Bash asked Kamala Harris her first question. Like those were all over the online digital community, and they got played and replayed on shows like yours and mine. The fact checking of the debate was just something I've never seen before, where these mainstream anchors could not get away with the lies they were telling about, let's say, immigration policy in that J.D. Vance, Tim Walz debate. All of it was exploding. The Tim Walz stolen valor stuff, that exploded online. We all really had a massive role in shaping the narrative in a way that would have been unthinkable even 4 years ago. And it didn't deafen the mainstream media, but it completely counterbalanced them in a way that just wasn't even possible. It wasn't even possible until recently. It's a totally new game now.
So I think I've asked you some version of this probably a couple times over the years, but what do you think? I mean, the hysteria and the lies and the fact that Obama 2 days before the election's doing very fine people again, and that all of some of the people that you just mentioned there from Dana Bash or Jake Tapper, that they just were lying or running cover for all these lies relentlessly. And yet they knew they were being called out about it online. As someone that came from the cable world, like, can you just talk a little bit? Has any of your thoughts on their psychology or what's really going on with these people? Are they being handed a piece of paper, say this, lie about this? Like, what do you think is really going on there?
I mean, on some issues, yes. Like I've told the story just recently, but I remember back in the day, I think it was co-anchoring America's Newsroom with Hemmer, which was 2007 through 9. We tried to entertain the Jenny McCarthy claims about vaccines, which were controversial for sure. But you weren't even allowed to say, could she be right? Jenny McCarthy's message on the vaccines was not, don't take the childhood vaccines. It was too many shots too soon.
Right. It was about the schedule,
basically. You weren't even allowed to talk about it. I remember being like, well, what does she mean? I wasn't yet a mother. And it was like, well, how? And I remember Fox News being like, oh, hell no, we are not even going there. And now today, the same thing is happening with the trans stuff. That Fox News uses, quote, preferred pronouns. That's a News Corp policy. They say he when it should be she, and it gets very confusing for the audience. And that's their internal policy as well. And so for sure, there are guidelines within which all those people must stay or they get in trouble. You could never have the frank and honest discussions that we have on our shows about race essentialism, the trans stuff, the election denialism stuff, the COVID truths. I mean, to pick a different day, you'll find a different issue on cable news. And I only would really put it together later that a lot of that is driven by just the agenda of the owners, the people at the top. And a lot of it is driven by the advertisers. I mean, RFKJ is not wrong when he points out what a huge advertiser Pfizer is all over television. A big advertiser in a day where cable news is doing this. So what is the interest in that company and having a bunch of segments bashing Pfizer or talking about the myocarditis that teenage boys are getting after they take these vaccines. There's plenty of other things that can fill the news. And that's one of the beauties of being where we are is like, you can talk, you can say what you want. Even YouTube, for all of its, censorious instincts, has allowed yours truly to maintain this platform now for 4 years. And I've only ever had one video demonetized, and it happens to have been with Donald Trump. And it's because he used the M word in talking about chopping off body parts of children. And if you use the M word to discuss what it is, the chopping off of body parts, YouTube gets upset. But I'm just saying, we live in these alternate forums and it's working. It's not working perfectly, but we're all strong. We've all found a way to get our voices out there and to make our frank discussions heard.
I do have to say, I don't give YouTube a lot of credit, obviously, and thank God for X and Rumble and everything else. But, the New York Times ran that crazy piece a few days before the election, basically trying to make sure that all the right-wing YouTubers, including us, were going to be demonetized. And they asked YouTube for a statement, and YouTube was like, nope, we're not doing anything. So that also goes to that cultural shift. Wouldn't it be fantastic if we could maximize our body's potential every day? With challenges like muscle loss, slow recovery, and compromised immunity, it's crucial to support our health effectively. Let me introduce you to Fortify, the essential amino acid supplement that packs 9 critical amino acids into convenient capsules for your busy lifestyle. Many people don't realize that most of the protein we consume from food sources isn't effectively absorbed and utilized by our own muscles. Instead, it's often converted to glucose and fat, leaving us short on the nutrients we really need to thrive. Fortify ensures that you get what your body craves. Not only does it help you build and retain lean muscle, Fortify also helps repair body tissue, regulate metabolism, and boost immunity, all vital for maintaining optimal health and vitality. Experience the remarkable benefits of Fortify because feeling your best starts from the inside out. Fortify is easy to take, all natural, non-GMO, and proudly made in the US of A. Don't wait. Visit mybrightcore.com/Rubin and get 25% off with code Rubin, or call now at 888-508-9296 to get up to 50% off your entire order. Fortify, real results for a healthier you.